All right, like Ben said, I'm Brent Peterson. I'm with Magento. I also help with MageTraining in the United States. I'm probably most famous, unfortunately, for taking selfies while in motion. But having said that, I do have a lot of experience in running Magento stores, setting up Magento stores, and Deryck certainly is an expert in the training on the Magento.
So yeah, I'm Deryck Harlick, and I work for MageTraining, and we specialise in training Magento merchants, be it on-site or scheduled training. And this year we have branched out into doing that in the States. So this session is really all about kind of like what we can do with Magento. So yeah. So why are we doing this?
I have no idea.
No, I have no idea either. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to demonstrate that Magento, if there's a lot of hosting partners out there who will give you an installation of Magento. And once you've got that installation of Magento, you can go about and just start setting up your store. You don't really need to be a technical expert to do that.
Can we just finish and go and get beer?
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you.
Right.
So what we're trying to say is, there's other products out there that are turnkey solutions that you pay monthly hosting fee for, but you may be a bit tied into the way they want to do things. Well, Magento is slightly different to that, where there's a huge community out there that offers a wide range of services, and you can tap into that while still getting the same kind of benefits of these hosted packages.
And of course, you have to pay hosting. But the beauty of Magento is that you can customize anything you want, and at the end of the day, you own the code. You're not sitting on the same instance of something with 1,000 other people. So during this presentation, the goal is 90 minutes to have a Magento store up and running, but we are going to try to do it in 60 minutes just so we get time for questions and people want to ping us or anything like that for anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And also, just so we're not going to be able to go into detail about how we're doing each part of the process. But so just see this as a signposting exercise. Each of those elements that we're doing, there's lots of resources out there that you can kind of delve into that and find out how to do it further. And also, for those of you who might be familiar with something like Jamie Oliver's 30-minute meals, he can cook them in 30 minutes and they're all perfect, and then you come to try and do it and it actually takes you an hour and a half. It's kind of like that, where we've obviously done this a few times before. We know where we're going, so maybe the first time you're doing it, it might take a little bit longer.
2 minutes in the microwave with the burrito works for me.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so we're going to go over kind of some basic hosting needs, the why it's important to go with a Magento partner.
Okay, we're going to look at the starting points for actually putting your store together, and obviously we're going to be having a delve into the admin panel and using that to get where we want to.
We're going to apply a very simple theme that we've come up with, and themes are things you can buy in the community, or you can modify them yourself. We're also going to configure the basic elements like a home page.
Yep, and we're going to then look at configuring category pages, so setting up your category pages, which might also end up being your landing pages for maybe AdWord campaigns or social marketing. And we're going to be putting products into the system. We're going to actually be putting quite complex products into the system as well. So we're not going for the easy option, we're going for the more complex products. And we'll be looking at how you can deal with getting images with those products as well.
And at the end, we're going to buy something. We have some stock in our store, which is kind of sitting off to the side behind door number 1. And we're hoping that we can all buy a t-shirt, and we have free coupons for t-shirts and other things. And at the end, we're going to hope also, if we have time, and I think we will, that we're going to do some Q&A. So you're welcome to ask as many questions as you want. I'm more technical for server-side coding, that type of thing, and Deryck is very knowledgeable in the admin section. So, right before we got up on stage, Magento was good enough to say that we've broken all 3 cardinal rules. The first one is don't rely on the internet, which we're going to do during this demonstration. So we've gone out and made the effort of getting extra modems, extra phones, everything that we're going to try to do. They also said don't use live software, which again, we've done that. And don't have 2 presenters on 1 computer. So right away I said, let's do two computers and just Deryck, and it didn't seem to work. So having said that, we're going to have some stuff to give away, so I think it's all going to be worth it. There will be some bumps, I'm sure, but the product is very sound and it's well thought through, so let's do it.
Yep.
So to start out, we're going to kind of go through the setup. In the very beginning, we're assuming that we're getting an instance of Magento from Nexus, which is a hosting partner. That instance comes already running, so it's similar to a SaaS-based solution where you do get an instance of something. Nexus gives us a great control panel that allows us to move files, create databases, create subdomains. They give us lots of control over what we're going to be doing, as well as some limited support in the back end. Having said that, it's always good to go with a Magento partner, a Magento developer, somebody that knows what they're doing if you're going to get into more complex things. What we're showing you today there's not going to be any programming involved. What we're showing you today is something that all of you could do with an account and an FTP access to a server. Certainly, the tools that they give you would allow you to do all those things with very limited knowledge of how the underbelly of computers works. So not to get too technical, but I'll go through a little bit about the underpinnings of Magento. If you're new to Magento, and how many are new? Okay, good. So a lot of people assume that Magento, or that any website is a whole bunch of files when you see a .html, and all those files lead to something. Magento does something where it takes the information out of a database and it does something called a rewrite, so it looks like there's a file, which is really good for SEO. So out of the box, Magento comes smoking on SEO. So if you're an end user, you're trying to find some of those things, they don't exist. The best thing about that is that everything is controlled in the admin panel, and you can control 90% of what we're doing today through the Magento admin. And that includes uploading images, adding products, all those things. We'll do a little bit of best practice around the admin section, and if we get time, you can ask some questions about best practices when it comes to coding and when it comes to where your code is sitting. Do I need a dev site? Do I need a staging site? Version control. There's a lot of things that are wrapped around running a bigger store, and as you get bigger or busier, and making sure that you don't do something wrong, that you can kind of practice it first.
Right, okay, so I'm going to start off with, we're going to have a look at the admin. So I'm going to jump, in a moment we'll be jumping out of the presentation. But what we're going to be looking at to start off with is we're going to look at some of the kind of basics, really basic stuff that, for me, you should just get out of the way when you set up your Magento store. So we're going to be looking at things like, defining well, first things you need to kind of know is you need to kind of line up your ducks before you start this process. So you need to know where you'll be trading. Hopefully you'd know that. You know whether you're trading in the UK or not, or whether you want to be trading with other countries as well. You need to kind of know what your basic store information, I literally mean, what's your store called, telephone number, that kind of thing. And also where you want any transactional emails to come from and possibly come back to. And something else that you want to maybe look at is what type of product you're selling. So kind of looking at grouping your products into different product types. That's quite important really early on in setting up your Magento store, because there's something which I'll talk about later, which is called attributes and attribute sets. And it's kind of important you get that right early on. So, and then we're also going to look at setting up the store category. So we're going to jump out of PowerPoint, and hopefully this will all work beautifully smoothly.
So I know one thing that we want to emphasize is that you do sort of have to have planning going into a store. So I don't think it's realistic to think that you just come up with a store in 90 minutes and then sell something. You should probably have stock to sell and have a bank to take the money from. So we're going over the highlights,
yeah.
assuming that you have some of this planning in place.
So, I mean, this is a good opportunity to show you this. Do you want to explain what's going on here, Brent?
Yeah, so when Nexus gives you, or any hosting partner that does a self-installed Magento, they're going to give you a Magento instance with a Magento login and a store that looks like this. It's not full of anything. It's ready for you to do something with it. From there, we can start adding products. Deryck's going to add a lot of products. We're going to show you how to just configure a very simple homepage, add a logo and things like that. So it'll allow you to get, at a minimum, up and running in 90 minutes.
So there's our homepage. So what we want to do is we want to access the admin panel, and we're going to just set up some of the defaults on the store. So typically, to access your admin panel, is the URL your website resides on /admin. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Always
Okay,
use
so,
admin, right?
Yeah. So it means that if I see a Magento store out there, I could just.
Oh no, I meant not use admin.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
So actually, what you want to do is you want to get that changed, but that's a technicality that is probably for another day. So. Username. So anyway, I've got a username. So this is my login to admin. So
it's not admin, is it?
I'm using admin, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Is that a good idea?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, one of the things we maybe need to look at doing is that's the default. Well, that's the username we've put in there. Is maybe come up with something that's a little less easy to guess. So I'll just log in here with my password, and we get the admin panel, hopefully.
And part of the idea that you are going to be doing a lot of typing, so we may be doing some cutting and pasting, because both of us type very slow.
Yeah, there's a few things. I'm going to go through what we need to set up in the admin. We've actually pre-filled some of it just so you don't have to see me kind of keep pressing delete, because I've got very fat fingers and constantly are going backwards and forwards. So let me show you what you need to look at. So this is the admin panel. So once you've started using Magento, you'll become very familiar with this, particularly this page, the dashboard. Where we want to go though is we want to start configuring our store. So I'm going to go to a menu under the system menu, which is called configuration. And this is where I'm going to set up my things like where I'm trading from and that kind of stuff. So you can see here, there's a general tab, and underneath there, there's general. And this is, like I say, we've already pre-filled this in. So our default country is United Kingdom. That's where the default country where people who are buying from your store, you're assuming that they're going to be coming from. And then we've got this next one down, which is allowed countries. So this is where you would select from this list of lots of countries here, what countries you want to be able to buy from your store. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything in here that they're here to look at, but I'm just going to show you the more important elements. So we've got our time zone. So what time zone is the store operating in? That's important when emails are getting sent out. You know, what time is the email being sent out? And what the locale is. There's a lot of locales in here. Basically, that is what language is your store running on. Yep. So in the United States, it would be that one.
So they'd have right
so
language.
In the correct one is obviously United Kingdom for us, yeah. So more information down here. This information here, store information, is blank by default, and I think it's quite important that you fill it in quite soon on. So we've got things like store name, contact telephone number, the opening hours, the country the store resides in, and also a store address. This information is used in other places throughout the system, like transaction emails, and you can use it yourself in content pages rather. So leave it blank, then that information will be blank throughout the site.
And we're not going to go to into the whole tax information, but this is part of it where we set your location for taxes and your VAT number, right?
Yeah, that's right, yep. And the next part that's quite important is the currency setup. So you can see here we've got a base currency, and then there's two other options, default display and allowed currency. The base currency is the currency that you are ultimately going to take the transaction in. So that's, if it's, in this case, it's pound sterling, British pounds. And so when the customer purchases a product, they're purchasing it in pounds. We've got this allowed currency element here as well, just below that. And that allows us to select multiple currencies. And actually, there's an inbuilt currency converter in Magento that we can use. We're not going to look at that in this session, but you can allow people to look at products in a different currency. But ultimately, they would be buying it in the base currency. And also this next tab down here, which is store email addresses. These are set up by default, and we've gone in and we've filled in this information to be our details. These are the email addresses your transaction emails come from. So if someone purchases a product, the order confirmation will come from the sales email representative. So you would need to make sure that you change what the default is. The default in Magento is, I think it's sales@example.com. So you're never going to get that email.
I have that domain name.
Do you? Well, you must get a lot of emails.
I do. It's really frustrating.
So just go through and get those set up. So that's gonna get us get the ball rolling on our store. And let me I've got a checklist here just to make sure I'm covering stuff. So if I keep looking at my phone,
and I get them off track a lot.
Yeah. So I need to kind of wind back in. So if I keep looking at my phone, it's just to make sure that I'm covering all the stuff that we definitely need to. So that's the basic of our setting up initially. So I'm just going to flick back to...
Your wife says she needs milk, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We always need milk.
Okay. So...
do you want to click the next slide?
So I'm going to kind of cover some of the look and feel that goes along with the store. We're going to go over the most basic theme that we could come up with. And what we've done, we're just going to style the base Magento theme that comes with Magento and change the color, and we're going to make a logo. There are many themes out there, and there's themes now that are supported by the responsive Magento theme that you can buy off the shelf, and they give you very good instructions on how to upload those. Here I'm just showing an example of a theme that we want to move from here into the correct folder in Magento, and we'll show you in a minute in the admin panel how you can choose that. In this example, we're going to use the basic structure of Magento, and we're just going to change some colors, which means that we don't have to add any extra files. We don't have to add, we don't have to add any extra programming files. We're going to add some CSS and some images. And in that, all we're doing is changing some colors. So it's very simple. It allows us to quickly get something from what you get out of Magento up and running that looks a little bit different than what you'd get out of the box. Let me jump over to admin here. All right, so the first thing is we want to make our homepage look a little better. So from here, I can look at my design.
That's it.
And I'm going to choose the responsive package that comes with Magento. Now, since 1.9 Magento has come with a fully responsive theme, which allows it to be used on any device. So it's more than just a mobile theme where you can use something on a tablet. This allows you to use it on a Windows 8 phone. It allows you to use it on an iPhone. Any type of device that's gets bigger and smaller, it'll allow you to use. So we see here that in the previous slide that I showed you that we were going to add this skin folder, the Mage_UK. That's going to give us our colors. And in that folder are some CSS files and some images that we've changed just to make it look a little different. In our header, we're going to go ahead and take the logo that we uploaded with that file, and that'll just give us a unique look. And moving on from there, there's your copyright, which we've gone and changed. All can be controlled here. If you wanted to put watermarks on your images, all of that is right here. Deryck teaches a 4-day course on all of this, so there's a lot of things that you can jump into and do on your own. So now if we go ahead and look at the home page, we can see that just from this, we've got a much better looking site. Now, I'm going to get rid of this column here, so we have a full width on a home page, and I'll add some content to the home page as well. So again, instead of having you watch me type, I'm just going to go ahead and
watch them copy and paste instead.
Yeah, we're going to watch me copy and paste. So the first thing I'm just going to do is change the look of it. So in Magento, you can have 1 column, 3 columns, or 2 columns. The columns could be on the left or the right. There's a lot of flexibility there. And then I've just kind of saved some text here to put in our home page, just so we have something that looks nice.
That's debatable.
You'll see just from the content that we created that we're both not super designers.
Well, we're highly qualified designers at the cutting edge, but people just don't understand
They don't understand.
They don't understand the level we're working at. Yeah.
So basically, all we've done is created an image, put it as a banner, and later on we're going to make this banner into a clickable hotspot so we can buy something. And then we've made some more content. And of course, you can add text to any of this, which allows you to further section off. You can this area down here, we could highlight categories that you want to have, landing pages, and even in the widget section, we don't have time to get into. We could make featured products and all kinds of things that are possible out of the box without having to do any programming. That's all that part, right?
Yep. Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, so we've seen the homepage, the logo we've changed. We've changed some CMS page, added some text. We're ready to add products, and we can start getting ready to sell something.
Okay, so this is kind of like the meat of this, really. This is where the probably the most time we'll spend in this session will be, which is actually how do we get our products online? How do we get them through to when we can actually start selling them? So do you want to click on to the next one? Yep. So Magento, out of the box, we have got several product types that we can use. Simple, configurable, grouped, and bundle. There's a few more as well, virtual, downloadable, and on Enterprise Edition of Magento, there's a gift card product type. But basically, these different product types allow us to treat products in a slightly different way. So we've got a simple product, which is the base product. It's almost like everything in Magento is built up on simple products. And that is a product where essentially at the end of the day, I go in, we've got a modem here. So I go buy that modem, I look on the site, there's a modem, I buy it, and there's 100 in stock, and when I buy it, there's 99 in stock. And that's essentially what a simple product is it is a SKU which has a stock level associated with it. And configurable is what we're going to be looking at today, which is arguably one of the more complex products to actually set up. But what a configurable allows us to do is build up a list of simple products and join them to a configurable product where the customer thinks they're just looking at one product, like a t-shirt in our instance, and they get to pick the color and the size of that t-shirt, but actually depending on the color and the size that they pick, they're actually buying a simple product that matches that color and size. So we have a small red t-shirt, a medium red t-shirt, and a large red t-shirt. Each of those is its own simple product, but as far as the customer is concerned, they're just picking one product and choosing what size it is. Okay.
I've got 100 Barry Manilow t-shirts that I forgot to tell you about we're going to be selling today.
Brilliant. Do they come in different sizes?
Yes.
Great.
Small.
They come in different sizes. Small?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we've also got grouped and bundle, are also based on simple products. And grouped essentially allows us to have a shopping list of products, and a bundle allows us to have configuration. So you might have like if you were buying a computer and you pick the base option, but actually want to upgrade the monitor. Configurable products allow us to do that kind of thing. We're not really going to look at those. We're really only going to look at essentially simple and configurable products in this session, and they are the most commonly used products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a configurable product by hand, using some of the tools inbuilt into Magento to speed up the process of that. And then I'm going to import some products as well using the CSV files, allowing us to import products, just to populate our database a little bit quicker than by hand. And it's kind of the way that probably a lot of people would end up populating their site. So,
and as Deryck kind of types, this would be a good time if you have questions about things, I could answer them. while he's typing.
Yes, because there's a lot of typing that's going to go on now. But let's, so I'm going to start off with, just get my checklist up and get it in the right order. I'm going to start off with, I mentioned attributes and attribute sets earlier. Attributes are, a product is made of attributes, and an attribute is essentially a question about the product. So that attribute might be something as simple as, what is the name of this product? Or it might be something like, what color is this product? And there's a whole load of attributes that make up products. An attribute set is a group of those questions. So if you imagine that we're going to be selling t-shirts on here, so we're going to have a size option on there. We might also sell shoes, or we might sell bookcases, or something completely different on the site. The questions that we need to ask about that product are going to be completely different to the questions that we want to ask about a t-shirt.
Or my hair gel.
Yeah, or your hair gel, yeah. So we create what's called an attribute set within that. And so we just, within that attribute set, it's like, here is a t-shirt product, and these are the questions that we need to ask when we're inputting that product information. The reason I'm bringing this up right at the start is that it's important that you kind of decide what those sets are before you start putting products in, because it's quite a hard one to backtrack from within Magento. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create myself a couple of attribute sets.
And it's good not to have an attribute set for every product, right?
Just for product types.
Yeah. Okay.
So for t-shirts you want an attribute set. For shoes you want an attribute set. So you can make those differentiation between those products, but not for every product. No.
So it's an easy way to find the attributes or things that go with that product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And contain them and section them off from another item.
So first thing I want to do is under attribute sets, if I click on there, what you'll see is there is one attribute set, which is default. My advice is never touch this attribute set, okay? It's there for you to create ever attribute sets with. What default contains is every attribute that Magento requires you to have against a product. And what you then do, which is in a lot of ways with Magento, is that you then create something that supersedes it. And that's kind of like a philosophy that goes throughout the whole of the Magento admin, as well as code as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button up here, Add Set. I'm going to give the set a name. So this is going to be for t-shirts. So I create a set called t-shirts. And then it asks me what I want it to be based on. What attribute set do I want it to be based on? So it's going to basically copy the default attribute set, and then I can start manipulating this t-shirt attribute set. So I'm just going to save that. Live product demonstrations are always fraught with... Anyway, right, so what that's come back with is what attributes are associated in here. I'm going to skip that for the moment just because I'm going to come back to this page and I'll explain a bit more about it when I come back to it. So I've created that attribute set. I'm just going to create one more attribute set just so we've got some variety in there. So back to add new sets.
And we can modify those attribute sets after we create them, right?
Yeah, the important thing is that you have the attribute set created when you come to create the product, but actually the attributes within that set can change as time goes on. So create another attribute set called shorts, and we'll save that. Also base it on default. So I've now got default attribute set and two attribute sets that I can use within the system.
Do people need shorts in England?
Not often.
Okay.
But we do go on holiday. We have to. Right, so save the attribute set.
And this is the really dangerous part about live presentations, is using the internet.
Yeah, right. So the next thing I want to do is I actually now want to look at the attributes that were within the attribute sets. Okay, so under attributes, you'll notice there's this option called Manage Attributes. And this is just a list of every attribute in the system. Okay, so most of these are set up as default from Magento. And this is the sort of questions it asks about every product. You don't have to answer every single question, but this is the sort of questions in there. I'm just going to take this color option as an example, and I'm going to edit this. So this is where we can define what colors a product could be.
And this is a good place where a store owner would want to really understand what the attributes are and what they do. Mm-hmm. So they can, when they make new ones, they know what types they are and how they behave on the front end.
Yeah. So in this case, this product here is a color option, and it's something that we can use to create configurable products, which is something that we're going to be looking at. There's a few other options there, which I'll come back to. But the one that's important to me is this one, which is the Manage Label Options. And in here, you can see that we have a label here, which is color. Now, this is what someone on the front end of the site will see when they see, when they reference this attribute, or someone who's entering the information. So
They see it's spelled right.
I'm just going to go in and correct that. So we have an English spelling of color. We have a proper English spelling of color, excuse me. So then we've got manage options. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to list all the possible colors that my products might come in. All right, so the product, when I set up the product, it doesn't have to have all these colors, but the color option has to be in here for me to assign it. So I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to create a few colors. So to do that, I just keep adding options. So I'm just going to add a load there, and I'm going to fill these in as I.
Magento actually asked us to do 250 colors.
250?
Yeah.
As a
Can
man,
you type all those in?
As a man, I only know of 4, possibly 5 colors.
Deryck asked me not to interrupt him while he's doing this.
Yes.
So I'm going to make every effort to throw him off track.
Because
we are giving up drinking beer.
Yeah, it's.
Did I tell you that I put some vodka in the water bottle back there?
Okay, so the colors I'm putting in here don't have to be necessarily colors. As a traditional sense, it could be whatever I want my customers to think of that color as. So I'm going to have a few interesting options in here just to. Okay, so I've got a few colors there, and I'm just going to save that attribute. What I'm also going to do, because size is something that I want people to be able to pick their products on as well, is I'm going to create a brand new attribute, which is just to do with size. So I add a new attribute, and I give it a name. So I call it size. Seems sensible. For reasons that I won't go into now, it needs to be a global. And we need it to be a drop-down, so it's something that we're going to select from the drop-down list. And it also needs to be assigned to create configurable product with that. Okay? If I go back to our Manage Label Options, I'll just give it a label of size. And once again, I'll just put in 4 options for size. And so I'm going to go small, medium, large, and extra large. We've got this option across here as well, which is position. It's probably quite important that when that list is displayed, that it's displayed small, medium, large, extra large, rather than small, large, medium, extra large. So I can force the order of these by putting a number in. So I want position 1 to be small, and then position 4 to be large, and it will sort them in that order. Right, so I'll save that attribute. How are we doing for time?
We're doing great. Beer awaits.
Right. Now I've created those 2 attributes, I need to associate them with the attribute sets that I want those size and color options to be in. So I'm just going to associate it with the attribute set for t-shirts. I'm only really going to focus on t-shirts today. Shorts is a red herring. We're not doing anything with shorts. Like Brent says, we have no need for shorts.
Maybe umbrellas.
So if I go into, we should have thought of that. If I go into the attribute set, what we have on the left-hand side here, in the middle column rather, is a list of all the attributes that make up a product in the t-shirts attribute set. Okay, so things, obvious ones in there are like name, description, short description. So when we're creating a product, we need a name, we need a short description, we need a SKU, every product needs a SKU. And most of these attributes here you have to have assigned to that attribute set. You don't have to fill in the information, but you have to have them assigned. Over on the right-hand side over here, we've got the attributes that are not assigned to that attribute set. So all I need to do if I want to assign them to it is simply drag them across from over there and into here. And now when we're creating a product that is in the t-shirt attribute set, it will ask the question, what is the color and what is the size? So I can save that. Okay, so I'm nearly ready to start putting a product in. There's one other thing I need to do as well, and that is to create myself some categories so that we can start seeing these products on the front end of the site, because you can't see a product unless it's in a category, or you have the direct URL for that product. So under catalog, we have manage categories, and in here we have like what's called the default category, which is basically the bottom of the tree for where you want all the categories to appear. I'm going to add some categories and then we'll have a look at what they look like on the front end. So to do that, I highlight the bottom of the tree and I add a subcategory. So I'm going to create a men's category and I'm going to make it active, and that's all I'm going to do with it at the moment. Save it. Okay, so you see that that appears underneath the branch of that tree, and then again highlighting the default category, I'm going to add another subcategory and I'll just call this ladies.
And I could theoretically add as many subcategories in a tree as I wanted.
You could do. I mean, there comes a point out of the box where it becomes aesthetically ugly, but in theory, you know, there's no limit. There's no limit to it at all.
But you could use categories as a landing page if you didn't have it active.
Yeah. So when you create a category, it creates a see it here, this URL key for it. If this page was active but not in the navigation, you could still access that page by visiting that URL. So that could turn into a landing page. So you could start creating a category page that had lots of different products in that was to do with a very specific promotion. And you don't want that to appear when someone's just browsing the site normally, but if they come through an AdWord campaign or social media marketing, you can send them straight there. So there's lots of flexibility in what we can do there, and obviously we'll only touch on a small amount of that today. So I've now created those two categories. If I go back to our website and do a refresh,
and I think because we don't have a lot of time, there are ways to make your category pages even a content page, so you could have an easy way of navigating to a just content by using static blocks and the category to create a landing page that doesn't have products on it.
So I've now got two categories. They're both empty, so we've got men and ladies. And what would happen is the more categories I add, they'll just fill up the top. If I started adding subcategories underneath men's, then there would be a drop down, and it would start showing them there. But I'm just going to keep it fairly simple at the moment.
So the wonderful part about Magento that we're not going to get into tonight is Magento Connect allows you to install modules within the Magento control panel that would allow you to add big menus or special category functions or product functions. There's all kinds of possibilities without having to worry about programming. I think there's 10,000 extensions now on Connect that allow you to do all kinds of really good stuff. 7,500? 8,000 extensions.
6.5. Is it six? How many is it?
About
7,000.
give or take.
Give or take 1,000.
So if any of you are about to go out there and start counting them,
Yeah.
then that would have been false information that Brent had given you there. So we've done our groundwork now, ready to start putting products in. So I'm not taking the easy option. I'm going to go for a configurable product. A configurable product is, so like I said earlier, configurable product is a product where you can go and choose the size and color, but ultimately the product that gets dispatched is a very specific SKU. So the way that Magento deals with that is that a configurable product is made up of lots of simple products. And what I could do is I could go into this page and create all my simple products and then create the configurable. But there is actually a tool within Magento that if you haven't already got those products set up, that you can use something called a quick product creation tool to create all the simple products that reside underneath. So that's what I'm going to do in this example. So I'm going to add a new product. Now you'll see when I go to add a new product, the very first question it asks me is what attribute set that product is in. If you imagine that I've just installed Magento and I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do is go, right, first thing to do, want to put a product in. If you did that, you would be putting the product, you'd probably click on this drop down, only see default there and go, must be default that I need the attribute set to be in. And then you might go and create a load of products. And then 6 months down the line, you realize you've got lots of different product types and you go, actually I need to separate them. It's a little bit tricky. So it's good to have those attribute set names defined quite early on. So we're creating a t-shirt, so I want the questions for t-shirts, and then I've got product type here, and I want to create a configurable product. So I'll select that, and I'll hit continue.
And one thing that makes Magento so great, especially in the clothing industry, is this configurable product that we'll see it allows you to have colors, sizes, all on one page with some really nice looking drop downs that allow you to find and pick a product really quickly.
So the next question I get asked is what are the configurable elements for this product? So it knows that these two attributes that we set up saying these can be configurable elements. So it's asking us, do I want them to include them when I'm creating this product? And I can just choose one, so it might be a product that only comes in different color sizes, but actually, colors rather. But actually in this case, it's color and size that we want to be defining. So I'll tick both and hit continue.
So my one size Barry Manilow t-shirt, we wouldn't check the
Yeah, no, we'll just
size.
create a simple product for
Right,
that. And,
okay.
And maybe make it that we pay people to take it off our hands. So we now have to just go and fill in the basic information. So you can see here there are a lot of tabs. This is setting up a product. I'm gonna go through only a fraction of the information in here. Okay, it's there to.
Can we just do all the tabs?
Every tab and every option, explain in detail
Yeah.
what they do. I'll just go through the main ones.
Yeah, I'll get some beers if you want to start.
I'd love a beer. All those people drinking beers earlier, and it's like, I've got to do this, I've got to wait. So I'll give it a name. So this is going to be, we've got a t-shirt that we're going to put on the system, which is our Keep Calm t-shirt. Okay, so I give it a name. This name is actually quite important. It's going to affect what the URL is for that product, what the title tag is for it if you're doing SEO. These things can be overridden, but by default, this is what happens. I'm going to put in. I'm just cheating with the content. I've got a website called Lipsum, which puts in Latin. So we're targeting a very specific market for our description.
You're so fancy.
We have to give the product a SKU. This is the configurable we're creating is like a parent product. No one will buy this product. It will always be the simple products underneath. So the SKU actually doesn't relate to any stock, but every product within Magento does need to have a SKU. So I'm going to call this. I did have a special code for it.
And the difference between this type of product and just using custom options, which we're not talking about today, is that the individual items get tracked in inventory. So you can set up a simple product with custom options that gives you the same drop-down items, but it doesn't allow you to track inventory on any of those variations of that product.
Give it a price. So that's our price that the customer sees on the front end on the way this is configured. That can be changed as well. So if you're a B2B, you might want the prices to be excluding VAT that's displayed on the front, and you can configure Magento to do that. And I just need to pick a tax class that this product is sitting in. So I'm not going to talk too much about tax just because it's highly boring and it's something that we'll just keep out the scope of this just for the moment. So I've given a price there of £15. Whatever information do I need? Under the inventory tab, even though we don't manage stock on a configurable, Magento by default will mark it as out of stock, and we need to mark it as in stock. Okay. We also need to specify what category we want this product to appear in if we want to be able to see it on the front end of the site. So I'll put this in both men's and ladies. Okay, so what else can we do? We have the images of the products that we need to look at. So I'm just going to have a little browse. Okay, and I've got a few images. So what this is doing is it's looking on my local machine for images. So I've got some images lined up. So I've got these two images here. And I can just simply open those and then upload them to the server. Okay, so now what that's done is it's taken the images at their original size, and incidentally I'd recommend that if you're uploading images, upload them square, so the same number of pixels high as they are wide, and go for around about somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 pixels. I mean, that's just my personal kind of guidelines, but they seem to work quite well. Because what will happen is these images are uploaded at that actual size, but then Magento creates different versions of the images to display on different pages, like the product page. You don't want to show a 1,500 by 1,500 image, so it will create a smaller version of that image for us. So I then just choose what I want the main image for our product to be, which is this front image here.
And Magento does a great job of processing the images and making them smaller and optimizing them for those landing pages and for the category listing pages.
Okay, so there's my images in there. And the next thing I need to do now is I'm just going to hit this Save and Continue button, which, by the way, Save and Continue is your friend with Magento. It is an online platform, and so your session might time out. If you've spent an hour trying to put a product together, you might find when you hit save, you go back to the login screen. So it's always good to hit that Save and Continue button, which allows you to carry on editing after it's been saved. So I now need to go and create the products that I want to represent the different colors and different sizes. So I've got this under Associated Products, Quick Simple Product Creation Tool. So let me just show you what we've got. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to create all these a load of simple products underneath. So in our case, we're going to have, we've only got one color, but we've got multiple sizes with this product. So it's going to create a small, medium, large, extra large, simple products. It's going to copy all of the settings that we put in for the configurable product against those, with the exception of these attributes. So I go in, I put in a weight, so say 500 grams. I'll enable it. I set it so it's not visible, the simple product, because the only product I want to see on the front end of the site is the configurable. And I'm going to give it a color, blue, right? And then we come to the sizes. So I pick the small, and I'm going to put a quantity, an opening quantity, against that product. So I've got 3 small blue t-shirts in stock, and I hit the quick create.
Why can't we put the weight in stones?
The weight can be whatever you want it to be.
Oh, okay.
It's just every product needs
Why is it in pounds and then stones?
I'll just carry on, yeah?
Okay.
Now I've done that, I can go through and just one by one create my different options. So again, I'll go for blue, and this time medium, and I'll put a stock level against medium, which is also free. Okay, I've got stock levels written down here, by the way. And then large.
Our goal, by the way, if the internet continues, is that we can actually buy something here, and we have some stock that we'll give you.
And the final one is the extra large. So I pick extra large, and this one has a stock of 5, right? So I hit quick create. Now what that's done down here is you can see that it's created these products for me, and it's associated them with the various different sizes. So I'll just save this. I won't bother saving continue, I'll just save it. And we'll go and have a look at what this looks like on our website. Okay, so there we've got our first product into the system. So we've got a nice right size image on the category page, and then we go through to the product, and we can see here that we have choose a color and choose a size. Okay, and when I do that, what it's actually doing is it's picking the simple product that matches that for me, and I can show that in the back end there. You can see it's created one configurable product, but it's created all these simple products, and these are all stock managed independently.
And I'll stress that we haven't had to do any programming. All we've done is change the colors. So this so far is out of the box, except for changing your logo, which nobody wants to have their Magento store say Magento. I mean, I suppose Magento does.
Yes. So that's doing it if I did one by one. What I'm going to do now is use an import facility. I've got 2 spreadsheets that I've created. Okay. I'm not going to go into details about what goes on here. You know, there's a lot of information out there. But this is basically what I'm doing is I've got a spreadsheet here which has got a load of simple products in it. And these are all different size and color options for products that I've got. So you can see that I've got like an orange t-shirt here that comes in small, and there's one that comes in medium, one that comes in large, and then we've got these tartan ones here and the likes. There's also reference to an image. Okay, we can actually, by referencing an image, we can you have to FTP onto the server, and there's a folder called Media Import, and you can put all your product images in there. And as long as you reference it here, Magento will do all the resizing for you when you import this spreadsheet. I've got another spreadsheet as well, which is defines. Hold on, let's find the window, which defines all the configurable products. Okay, and again, it is actually a very easy way of creating these very quickly, these products. But I won't try and explain what's going on there. We don't have time. But I'm going to show you what happens when we do import these.
And this is where it's important to have a dev site, or at least somewhere where you can practice when you're doing these uploads, because you can end up with either removing some products by accident or adding a lot of extra products that you may not want. So in the idea that you have at least another site that you can practice with, it's a good best practice to have more than one place to kind of do some of this.
So what I want to import is some products, and I can just go, right, I want to import them now. These products don't exist at the moment, so either of these options are fine. What these different options mean is when you do have products that exist on the system is, do you want the information to be overwritten or do you want it to be appended to the product? So actually, either of these options will do at the moment because the products don't exist in the first place. So I just simply choose a file, and we have our CSVs here. So I'm going to upload the children, which is the simple products. And when I do that, I do check data. And what Magento will do is it will look at the import file and it will check that the data is valid compared to how you've set up the attributes for those products. So it's come back here saying there's 13 rows of valid data, which equals 13 entities. An entity is a product. There's no invalid rows, there's no errors, so it's good to import. So it does a little check for us to make sure that everything's okay. So now when I hit import and go back to my Manage Products page, you'll see that we've got a whole load of new products that have been imported in. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again, but for this time around, I'm creating the configurable products. So the configurable products is attaching those simple products to it. So again, we go products, doesn't matter whether it's append or, and so I go parent, which is the configurable product. Check the data. It's always the riskiest bit. So basically, it's check 20 rows. In our CSV file, we've kind of got 10 rows per product. This, again, probably not worth explaining at this moment, but there's a principle there of how the imports are done. But it's come back saying that everything's okay, so I can import.
And I would just like to stress that we're doing this off of a cell phone in the basement of a motel.
So I'm sure they won't appreciate you calling it a motel.
I mean, hotel, sorry. Sorry, hotel.
Right, so I've created those products. So now we've got these two configurable products here. One of the things that I will have to do, I'm doing a lot of updates to the database, and it's kind of starting to get itself into a little bit of a mess. It will hopefully eventually heal itself, but I need to do something which is called index management. I need to go and re-index the database. So you'll find if you're doing lots of updates on Magento, and particularly in the early days when you're first putting a store together, you'll find yourself visiting this page a lot. I'm just going to select all the indexes and re-index the database. Right, when I go back to the front end of my site now, go to the men's, t-shirts, so you can see now we've got a whole load of products on here. And we've got tartan t-shirt, Mage Run t-shirt, Keep Calm. We've also got this USB battery, which has nothing to do with t-shirts at all, but I'll come back to that later. So now we've got these products in here, but I've managed to, if I go to the tartan t-shirt, you can see we've got an option here. What color do we want? Blue tartan or red tartan, and then we can pick a size. Okay, so that was kind of sort of straightforward, but it is a very useful tool, the import-export tool for getting products in there en masse. But you'll see there when I was just changing the product, the color, that it wasn't changing the color of the image here. So there is a new feature that came out with 1.9. Was it 1.9.1 that Swatches came out with, or was it 1.9.0? I think it was 1.9.1. Yeah. And in Enterprise 14.1, 1.14.1.
And the Scottish Tartan Board wouldn't let us have those shirts. So
yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't sell those. We're not allowed to sell them. We can show you them.
It's copyrighted.
Mm-hmm. So what I can do now is I can enable swatches on the system. Now, there's a few cheats on this.
And are those watches? The little ones, the plastic
swatches.
ones?
Yeah.
Oh, the cars.
You can enable swatches on here. Yeah.
Okay.
So swatches being the little color options, so we can actually pick the color rather than picking something from a drop down, so we can see a representation of it before we activate it. So there's a couple of cheats on here though, which are nice little cheats. One is when I was creating the attribute for color, I gave them a label like blue, green, orange. In the content management system, okay, which we've not really done much looking at, and we won't, but there's an insert image tool, and when you insert that, it takes you to a media library that's on your server, okay, and this is images that have been uploaded. For swatches, you create a folder in here called swatches, and then you upload what you want the swatch to look like, and you upload the file name the same as the label. So for red, it'll be red.png. For the red tartan, we've done red-tartan.png. And we upload those images with the right name, and then Magento just does the rest for us. It kind of like deals with it. It's like a nice little cheat to kind of get kickstarted on these swatches. So I've uploaded a swatch for every color that we had. But that's a very simple process to do. And now what I can do, though, is if I go to my System menu and Configuration, and you'll see that there's an option under Catalog called Configurable Swatches. So I'm going to select that.
So the label helps you if you're colorblind.
Yeah.
Good.
And all I need to do is enable it, and then say what options I want to be a swatch. Okay, and the first one is what options on the product page do I want to be a swatch. So I can actually have multiple, so I'll go for color and size. I'm going to make them swatches rather than drop downs. And for the product attribute, which is what this is for what happens on the category page, I can pick one. So I'll pick color, and I'll show you what happens with these once I implement that. So I'll just save that. Now when I refresh this, okay, you can see now that we've got two color options here. And as I change them, the image changes for the product. And also I've got my sizes down here as well. If I go to the category page, okay, it also puts those colors on the category page. And again, if I flick between them, I can see the different product that is on there. Looking at these color swatches though, I think they're a little bit small, so I could go back and I can change the dimensions. So I might want them slightly bigger. So at the minute they're 21 pixels by 21, but I maybe want them on the product details page. In fact, all of the pages I want them to be 33. Okay, so it just makes them that little bit bigger, a little bit easy, a little bit chunkier for customers to kind of pick the right button. Okay, just do a refresh on that, and now we'll have a, hopefully, slightly larger swatch. So you can see the detail of that a bit clearer. So we can do that. The other thing that we want to do as well is we want our customers to be able to maybe filter what colors they're interested in or what sizes they're interested in. So we can do that at the attribute level. So I can go back to our attributes and I can pick color. And there's an option down here in front-end properties, which is this, which is called Use in Layered Navigation. And what layered navigation is effectively is filters, which will appear over on the left-hand side. So you can see here it's saying that this is filterable with results. I'm just going to change it to no results because I think it gives a better effect here, but you would normally have filterable with results, which says only show an option if when you click on it a product will be returned, but no results will just show the options anyway. So I'm just going to change that and save it. I'm going to do the same for size as well.
And what layered navigation gives you is the ability to sort of get a lot more categories without having to build out categories. So Deryck will show you in a minute here that if you have a category for men's, it's going to give you on the left-hand side a lot of options to go down to the specific item you want.
So I've enabled those attributes to be used in layered navigation. All I need to do now is tell the category that I want to display that layered navigation or that filter on the left-hand side. Magento is kind of like you hear the term layered navigation, filters, and anchors, and they kind of all refer to the filters on the left-hand side. So to do that, I go and pick my category, so I'll pick men's, and then the display settings, I choose this option, is anchor, and I say yes it is, which essentially means it's going to turn the filter on the left-hand side. It means more than that, but for the benefit of this, we'll leave it at the moment. So now when I go and refresh my page, I've now got on the left-hand side color options. I've got the price. I can filter by price and I can filter by size. So I could say I'm only interested in products that are valued £10 to £19.99. Click on that and it filters it down. And then I can continue and say, well, actually, I'm only interested in orange products. So I select that and it comes up with the orange product there. So it helps your customers to find what they're looking for. But that, was quite. If you do things right, that's quite a simple element to actually implement. Okay, where are we at? Well, we're actually at the hour point, so we need to just now.
And the nice spot, there's a place at the very top of that category page that allows you to put sort of a flashy banner in. So you can further make those category landing pages look great.
So we've put products in, we've got categories, we've kind of like covered the essentials and the home page as well. We've kind of covered the essentials of what you need to get the store running, except for the fact we now want people to be able to take we want to be able to take payment basically, and we want to be able to ship these products. So the next thing I'm going to do is implement a payment method. For the purposes of this, I'm not going to integrate it into any payment gateway. I'm just going to use a very simple payment method, which is called pay by check, which allows us to take the order and then we have to process it manually. Obviously, but it is very easy to get Magento hooked up to a proper payment gateway. You just need the details. So what I want to do is under the configuration tab, I go and find payment methods. Okay, so you can see you can link up PayPal and the likes. What we want to do is, firstly, we want to turn off this payment method, which is save credit card. I think it should be turned off by default, but it basically allows someone to just put their credit card details in, but it's really insecure. So yeah, please don't be tempted. But what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this payment method's enabled, check money order, which allows someone to just say, I'm going to send you a check. And we'll also make sure that this payment method zero subtotal checkout, because what we're going to do is going to be a zero checkout anyway.
And you can see from here that there's about 20 different payment methods that come with Magento. So PayPal being one of the biggest allows you to instantly take payments without having a merchant account if you just wanted to get a PayPal account.
And the last thing I want to do is set up our shipping. Okay, so firstly we've got shipping settings, so origin. Where is this stuff getting shipped from? Because this could affect, it could affect tax actually, it could affect all sorts of things. So it's currently saying United States, so we want that to be United Kingdom, and you know, we can probably leave it at that, to be honest, for the United Kingdom. Gets slightly more complicated, this sort of stuff in the States, because they have very complicated tax laws about where stuff gets delivered from and the likes. So finally, just a shipping method. So I need to pick a shipping method. I'm just going to choose a flat rate shipping method. You can do all sorts of table rates though. So you could have a table rate of, you know, the cost of delivering it to France is this amount. The cost of delivering it to, you know, to Germany is this amount. In the UK, it's this amount. You can kind of like table these rates, but we're going to go for a very simple rate, which is flat rate. And we shall enable that, which it is, and we'll give it a price of, well, I'll give it a price of 0. I think I can give it a price of 0. I've not double checked that actually.
I think you can. And in the shipping and the payment section is a great place to find extensions that allow you to add different payment gateways and different shippers. There's a variety of shipping extensions too that would do certain rules for you, that give you special functions for different types of packaging. One other thing I want to do is I want to go back to that page, that home page, and I want to link up that image that Brent put in earlier with a product. So I'm just going to find the product that I want to link it to. So I'm going to clear my filter so it resets it. And the product I want to link to is this one. So what I can do is I can just take that URL there, keep calm one, and if I go into the content of my page, okay, I can just highlight it and turn that into a link. There are other methods of doing this. This is this is the quickest one for me to do at this moment. So that's why I'm using it. But there are other ways you can do this. So I put the link in there and insert it. So now that's activated that link. Whenever I click on it, if I go back to the home page, it'll take me hopefully straight through to that product, which it has. Okay. Right, one last thing I want to set up is a promo rule. So I use this, which is called shopping cart price rules, which allows you to put a promo code at the end of the shopping experience, if you like, or in the shopping basket. So I'll add a rule, and I'm just going to call this, I'll call it Keep Calm Discount. The Keep Calm thing was my idea, by the way, and he told me that it's been well overused in the UK. So I apologize.
I live very close to a place. I live in the north of England, near Newcastle, and I live about 20 miles away from the bookshop where they found the original poster. So it's been going in England for a long time, but in the northeast it's been going for even longer. So yeah, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say there's a specific coupon code, and the coupon code is Keep Calm as one word, and we're going to have it so that's actually no, it doesn't matter at the moment. We can have it so it's unlimited uses. And what we can do in the actions, so in the conditions, I'm not going to put anything in. The conditions is where you'd say, check the shopping cart for what's in there. Under the actions, this is where you say what products do you want discounted by how much. So we're going to put in a discount, a product discount of 100%. And we're going to say that that's applicable to one product. So they can get one product, 100% discount in that basket. And if I save that, we now have a shopping cart price rule. So
I'm not going to make very much money on those T-shirts.
Never. People will pay for the prestige. So just going back then. So do you want to flick on to the next one then? Yeah. So we've done that. I should have gone back to that, but that's okay. So yeah. So what we've done is we've just gone through and we've linked a payment method. We've implemented flat rate shipping. So now we're in a process where we can actually buy something off our store.
Yeah, and actually this is a live store, so if you wanted to try it, we could all try it together, or I can buy one here. The URL is demo.liveuk.io. You bought one? All right.
So have we got an order in there?
Yeah, let's look. There we go. It worked. Thank you. Let's go.
Yep.
We're done. No, actually, I'd like to buy one. I want to get one. Oh, wait, I have one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get one again anyways. We can quickly go through the process here. You see I didn't select color, so it's going to tell me I need to choose a color. Add it to my cart. And we had done this before. So I have one extra in my cart, so I can get rid of that one. I want to put my promo code in. Keep calm. And I forgot about this.
Oh, you're going to check out as me?
Yeah, it's easier. There we go. And we bought something. So, I think we actually did it in an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, 38. No, we got an hour and 8 minutes. Yeah.
Hour and 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 20 minutes to make the logo and to change the colors. You'd still get in the 90 minutes. So we'll open it up to questions if anybody has some. And we have T-shirts if anybody wants one. We both have the Keep Calm T-shirts and we've got some Mage running shirts. Yes?
Well, maybe not a question, but a point. You could really probably improve conversion if you enable PayPal Express.
Yes. Agreed.
Lee, did you take that down?
One thing we wanted to do, but we should have bought an SSL certificate. We didn't buy one, so we didn't want to put on live items without a secure certificate. So it's important that you get a secure certificate before you do that. Yes?
So how easy was it then to set up the hosting part of this?
So you would go to a hosting partner that has Magento as one of their packages that they offer, and they would give you that just like we saw in the very beginning. It'd be a working Magento store. You could log into the admin section and start doing all those things that we've showed you.
Would you have to do any other bits?
The
Setups of that configuration at the hosting level?
Not at the hosting level.
No.
Nope.
So it should be all set.
It would be all set to go.
It obviously depends on who you go, but yeah, like Nexus.
Like,
That,
what
they'll-
about the caching on your T-shirt says bad?
Oh,
What
right.
about that?
So in Magento, if you make a lot of changes in the back end and you don't clear cache, sometimes you wouldn't see the change in the front. So the joke is that if keep calm, clear the cache, and then it works. And you just click a button in the back to clear the cache.
There is no need to be technical to do the hosting.
No, No, the most technical part that we did today would be to transfer the images with FTP to the server, or modify some CSS to change the colors.
You
Yes?
guys configure and install some extensions for the website, would you recommend installing them early on before doing any configuration or further down the line?
So just for the benefit of the camera, so should we install extensions at the beginning of the process or further down the line?
It depends what it is. I mean, if something is dependent on something else, you'd have to install the extension first. I would always recommend installing an extension in a development area, somewhere where you can easily turn things back, rather than doing it on live. When you do go to Magento Connect, it's going to turn on a maintenance flag that's going to sort of make your site look like it's not operating. So you want to be aware when you do install an extension like that it's done in a place where you've tested it. But certainly testing it and making sure they work. I don't know if the order is as important.
Question about SKUs. You made it look really simple, but could you manually created the SKU? You made one up. Is there a way that it could automate that and just automatically generate unique SKUs for each product, or do you have to keep like a running total of all the SKUs you've created?
Yeah, you're in control of your SKUs. Again, just to repeat the question. So, can the SKUs be automated, or do you have to do it yourself? And it's you kind of would have your system, because the SKUs should really represent your stock management. So you've probably got your own system in place to do that. So all you want is Magento to kind of reflect that. So you're kind of in. When I did the quick product creation, I used the auto-generate SKU option on there, which takes the SKU from the configurable product and then adds the options onto that. But probably in most cases, you'd probably override that and put your own SKUs in.
So yes and no.
Hi.
I have a question. How about if you have a warehouse in different places and you have to ship them from different places? Because you only have one place to configure them.
So if you've got multiple warehouses and shipping from different places, I'll let you take over that one, Brent.
So out of the box, Magento doesn't support multiple warehouses. It will support multiple currencies, but there is an extension that allows you to do multiple warehouses on a Magento instance. And most people that have multiple warehouses are going to have an ERP system that's running in that warehouse, where then you would attach to the Magento instance having multiple warehouses, some kind of an extension that does that for you. Yes?
Is there any out-of-the-box backup system in Magento?
Is there an out-of-the-box backup? Yes, there is an out-of-box. There's a place where you can click backup, and it will back up the database and the files for you.
There's something
Is it an automated one?
can be.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. You can schedule it. I personally don't. I'm not a big fan of. I mean, it's just my personal, but I'm not a big fan. I'd rather do that as server side. And most hosting packages will have a backup option on there. And that, for me, I just feel I feel more secure doing it that way. But there is that function there.
Yeah, almost all hosting companies do a nightly backup, and they'll be able to restore you to the point that they did the backup. And certainly Nexus does that.
Yeah. I think that
Yes?
What about multi-sites? So I have different countries, like Holland, France, Germany.
Yeah.
Can I do it from the same install?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something Magento is really good at, is having multiple sites, multiple languages.
Let me quickly go on the path of creating a different store view. So if I wanted a French site, say, there's an option. I could just go in, create a store view, give it a name. So we'll call this one France. Give it a code. And as soon as I save this, if I enable it, as soon as I save this, what this has done is it's kind of like it's created what's called a new store view. And that store view can then be independent, so we can then start changing the names of the products for that store view. So if I go and have a look on the home page now, you'll see that there's a drop down that would have appeared, hopefully, which is which store view do you want to look at. So I'll probably rename default store view to English. If I go to French store view, it won't find the home page because it expects me to create a French home page. But yeah, it's very, very easy to create multilingual store views.
It's also going to come with a number of language packs, so it will do some translating for you.
So I've got all these stores, and I love my email, my store, but I want to sell on other platforms like Amazon or eBay.
Yes, they're both
So if you
supported
set-
through
yeah,
extensions.
If you so if you want to sell through other channels like Amazon and eBay, there's an extension called M2E that does that, which links in very nicely with Magento. Yeah. So it's got how.
What about transactional emails? Are they activated by default, or do you need to connect directly with
Yeah, so it's kind of something I kind of brushed over, transactional emails. So what the question was, what do we do? Can you customize the transactional emails? Is that?
Or are they by default?
Oh, right. So there is a default set of transactional emails that come with Magento, and you can override them. So basically, we have this option here, transactional emails. So at the moment, the emails that will be coming out from this store will be the default emails that Magento supplied. But if I want to change them, then what I can do is override them. You never overwrite with Magento, you override. And so what you do is you load up the template. So it might be the order email. So I'd load that up. And then in here, I can customize it and save it, and it will create a separate version of that email, which I can then use as the email going out.
Can I use a different server if I want to?
For sending the email?
For actually the email going out, who sends it?
Yes.
Yes, I know .mailer does transactional emails. I think maybe Bronto does.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options for, and MailChimp, yep.
I'm a starter,
Yeah, there's all kinds of options for sending out email. Yeah.
MailChimp won't let you actually customize the email in MailChimp, whereas something like .mailer would let you customize the email in .mailer. But you can send the email through something called Mandarin, which is their kind of
So
SN.
you say you can't customize, you have to use whatever is standard in Magento.
You'd need to have a bit of HTML knowledge if you want to customize the email. So you can see there that I can preview that email and see what that looks like. I'd kind of need to know a little bit about HTML to customize that. But I mean, just the basics. But
But you get started with MailChimp, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Like if you're just rock bottom, you're starting.
Yeah. And this is an example, the one we're looking at right now, of just a out-of-the-box email where it already has some branding on it. And if you're careful and you play with the HTML, you can make some changes. Yes.
I have a question. How to play with taxes here? For example, I want to show gross prices for B2C customers and net prices for B2B customers.
so if you want to show different pricing, you would probably have to create what's, you can have multiple websites running on Magento, and you would have different policies on how, so it's still using the same product database, but it's just, you can define how how you want that to be displayed on the front end in those two different websites. So you'd have a B2B website and a B2C website, and you'd have different, the tax gets showed in this way on the B2C versus the B2B.
Yeah, and in that situation, for trying to do your taxes, there's a lot of different ways. You can have a customer group that doesn't get charged tax. So if you didn't want to do a different store view, and there's a lot of different ways that the taxes could get set up in that situation.
On B2B option, can you have a login page so that not everybody can get into it?
Yes, the question was, can you have a login?
Oh, sorry.
Can you have a login page? And the answer is yes, but not out of the box. There are some free extensions that allow you to block off certain areas without having, by making them log in.
Also an enterprise feature.
Right, and it comes with Magento Enterprise.
We should mention there is Enterprise out there.
What about multi-currency?
Yes, multi-currency is supported, even the US dollar.
And on this version, I assume the home page is just very rigid. There's no sort of rotating images and things like that.
So the question was, is the home page fairly rigid? So that again goes back to the extensions that you can buy that are easily plugged in, even banners, banner extensions that allow you to have all kinds of dynamic content.
What we did there was very, very basic, just because we wanted to demonstrate it. But actually, there's a myriad of tools out there to make the homepage, dynamic and interesting, and even down to certain products out there that can look at what the customer's behaviour is and actually show products that are really related to that customer, and that there's all sorts out there. So we've kind of only really skimmed the surface of what you can do, but it'll be never ending. Yeah.
What about customer account facilities? Are they not into it?
What do you mean, customer
Log
count?
in, I can look at my
Yeah.
Yes, customer accounts are something that comes from Magento out of the box.
Yeah, customer can register, and then they got a whole load of wish lists and stuff like that they can do as well on there. Yeah.
What about invoices? So let's say I place an order, is there a PDF of the invoice I can find in my account, or is that something that is in Maltese?
That's a good question. There is so is there a PDF invoice that you can find in your account? There is a PDF invoice generator that is part, but I don't think out of the box that will just appear in the customer's account. However, the customer can see the invoice in their account.
Yes.
I think I'm right in saying that.
I think
yeah.
you're right.
But I'm sure there's tools out there that you can. I'm sure there is. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of tools to modify that invoice and make it look better. Not that it doesn't look great already.
Okay.
And, sorry, how about statuses of orders? Because I observed in Magento that there is automatically created status when you purchase product. And can you customize so that to create new statuses for organizing a process of handling of order?
Mm-hmm. So basically, can you create custom states with orders? Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yeah. There's kind of like I think there's 5 main states for an order. There's pending, there's processing, cancelled, on hold, and a never. I think is there a never one? I can't think what it is off the top of my head. But each of those states you can create your own substates. So you might have when an order is processing, you might have 5 or 6 processes that order has to go through before you finally say that it's ready to be dispatched. And you can create those states, and as the order goes through, you can set what state that order is in at that time. So yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
I'm asking about the situation when the product is complicated and should be manufactured through the process in the factories. That's why I need some sub statuses
Yeah.
in the whole process.
I don't know specifically. I mean, I think you could just create statuses, but maybe I don't understand exactly. Maybe I'll have a word with us later, and I'll try and answer that better, because you can just create whatever states you want. So I don't know whether that would do what you wanted to do, or whether there's something else more complicated that you need to be able to do.
All right. Any other questions?
Okay.
Great. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.